Thanks for watching our show, folks. This is Pittsburgh Sportsline, and it's on Tuesday night. You're watching Al Levine, the Talking Machine, Smoking Jim Frazier, Big Mike Butera, and we have an illness in the crew here. Chip Hayner somehow caught the stomach flu from his wife, Stephanie. He was on the show last night with Sip Sports Bar, and we had a great time, but he texted me this morning that he's ill with that flu. And we're advising people don't take the flu shot because everybody that's taken one has gotten sick. So that's my little health tip. Oh, one more thing. 8 cups of green tea, knocking on wood, is keeping me healthy. And I advise that have Lung Ching 4th grade and China gunpowder. Steep it for 3 minutes. That's your health tip. Now we do What's on Our Mind, and we're going to start with Big Mike Butera. What's on your mind?
This evening, I always kick it off with a shout out to my friends that watched the show. And a week ago, I mentioned that my dear friends in Frankfort, Illinois, Rick and Loretta, are going through a bit of a rough patch. And this weekend, Rick's older sister, passed away. And over the years, it's
our deepest sympathy.
Yeah,
to
I appreciate that.
Fans of the show and you. So
appreciate it, man. This fellow Rick and I spent a year together overseas in the jungle, and then I came home, and he and I and his wife and all his family have been more or less family members for my entire adult life. So I know they watch the show, and I just wanted to tell you that that's what's on my mind. So there you go. Thank you.
Well, sorry to hear something sad like that, Mike. So.
Hey, you know what? It happens, man.
Our deepest sympathy, buddy.
To Rick and Loretta, please.
To Rick and Loretta here.
Thanks.
And now we'll go to Smoking Jim. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Do you guys know any black lawyers? No.
Yes.
I don't either.
Yes. Johnny Cochran.
There you go. Nobody knows any personally, but all my family members think they know the law. A year ago, my cousin, he was getting ready to divorce his wife. Wow. And he didn't want her to get anything, so he put everything in his brother's name. Well, 2 weeks ago, his brother and his wife got divorced. So his brother's wife got half of all my cousin's stuff. So anyhow, it never seems to work out.
What's that tell you? They should have seen you. There's the guy. Anybody, if you want to do something like that, see, honest, smoking Jim. And that's our radio commercial there, too.
I could have used that big screen TV. But hey, what's on my mind is Saturday, quote unquote, I went to 5 high school championship games at the Colombo Center. Wow. And I tell you what, I see some good games, man. It kicked off at 11 o'clock in the morning with Vincentian Academy playing Sarah Catholic. And I tell you what, Vincentian won the game. They have a sophomore forward that's 6'1" named Bria Wise that could end up her career as one of the best ever. Second game featured Beaver Falls boys blowing out Burrell High School, but I was very impressed with Burrell's 6'2" senior football player named Cole Bush. This is a kid that got a full scholarship to St. Francis College, but if he is going to play either tight end or running back, but if they keep him at running back, I think he's going to end up with a special career down the road. Third game featured South Park versus Elizabeth Forward High School, the all-girls school at Elizabeth Forward. And South Park won the game. South Park is coached by Reggie Wells Sr. His assistant coach is none other than Reggie Wells Jr., offensive starting lineman for the Arizona Cardinals. They won the basketball game. Fourth game was the Bethel Park girls playing Chartiers Valley. And it was the first ever basketball championship for the Bethel Park Lady Blackhawks. Congratulations. Their coach, Coach Burke, she coached 18 years, used to play for the University of Pittsburgh, has over 200 wins. In her 18 career, 8 of those years as head coach was for Butler, but she's an alumnus of Bethel Park High School, and congratulations to the Lady Blackhawks. And finally, the feature game was Newcastle versus Hampton. Newcastle was undefeated this year in the WPIL. Now, both teams played in the championship last year, but they played on the AAA level. But they decided to move up both teams this year to Quad A because for the last 3 years, Gateway High School was the dominant force, the dynasty in Quad A. So both teams ducked Gateway, but this year, Hampton and Newcastle moved up. Newcastle beat Blue Hampton out. Newcastle's the #1 team in the state. They broke a WPIL record. They're the first WPIL team ever to go undefeated in the WPIL in back-to-back seasons. But I have a prediction for Newcastle. Newcastle now in the PIAA's first round this weekend, they have to play Gateway. And I will guarantee you that Gateway's going to hassle the castle.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. Great on your mind there, buddy. Hey, I want to give you a little late breaking news. My man was talking about Butler High School. We had a great artist on our show at the Sip Sports Bar, Tempe Moore. I saw on Facebook, since I'm friends with her, that she's going to be at Butler High School. I think it's on Saturday. So if you see any of her art, Matt, I don't know if you can get a close-up of that. Frank taught me last night how to do that. There we go. Now, these are portraits done in charcoal, pencil. Look at how that is. Reasonable rates. Oh, well, enough of that. Hey, then on Thursday, Jessica Lee has this Entrepreneurial Thursdays, and she does jazz networking. This is a little tougher here. 5:30 to 8 o'clock. There we go. I can move it around a little for you. Nice. Make sure you go up to Little E's. It's on Liberty Avenue, right near Mahoney's. Go upstairs, $5. You don't even have to drink there. Enjoy the show. Plenty of people in business. Then, here's the highlight, folks. We've been talking about 3 weeks with this. The Steelers basketball team will be there on Friday night at 8 o'clock. And Smokin' Jim and I will be announcing the game and doing interviews. Okay. So that's one of our infomercials there. And then we have a special guest that's coming in, and he didn't realize that there's traffic for all you people that live around Bethel Park. If you're on Curry Hollow Road, and it's anywhere from, I'll say 4 o'clock, because I was on there at 4 till about 7:30, you hit traffic. So we're going to take a little break here, and we'll let the Devin Shea in the control room and Joe in there, and Matt shutting us down, so they'll do a little break here, folks.
Watch BPTV.
have this mystery guest who is on our SIPS Sports Bar show the last 2 Mondays, and he has a lot of great sports background. And, oh, wait a second here. Hold it. Here's who's going to be on this show. Look at this. Brenner Contracting. They're sending the finest young businessman that I know in Western Pennsylvania. Zach Brenner, we do a segment. I know you just come in out of traffic. I did the promo that you didn't realize how Curry is at this time of the day. And that's okay. Next time you go another way or you get a helicopter. But anyhow, we do What's on Our Mind. And whatever's on your mind in the sports world, go ahead, buddy.
Well, what's on my mind, I'd have to say what's on my mind, the Pirates are what's on my mind right now. You know, I don't think they've been good since I was about 8 years old. I think I was 8 years old. Yes, I was 8 years old.
We talked last night. You were 8 years old.
Yeah, I was 8 years old the last time the Pirates were even semi-relevant. So it still doesn't look good for what I'm seeing down in spring training. The pitching, you know, still isn't, you know, turning me on at all. I don't know about how everybody else feels, but it's still just mediocre down there.
Well, this is totally what's on your mind. We do a segment after this. We revisit what's on our mind. So we'll cover some of the things you bring up if we have a point. So you just go on for a couple minutes, my friend. You're new to the show.
All right.
You just roll on your pirate thing, and then we'll go to me after that if you don't mind. And
all right. Well, since I touched on the pitching of the Pirates, I'm going to switch over and I'm going to talk about the Penguins real quick. That was a nice win last night for the Penguins. You know, nice goaltending. The defense is still, you know, kind of lackluster, you know, kind of lackadaisical. But for the most part, I liked what I saw last night from the Penguins, and that's pretty much what's on my mind right now. Other than the traffic that I just said.
we'll talk about that after the show. But I appreciate Nanook from the north coming down with the hat you have on. For all the people that watch this another day, it's not snowing here yet. And if you're watching this live, hey, Big Joe, don't panic. My man Gary, who showed up at SIP Sports Bar last night, don't panic. No snow in the neighborhood. And any of the other folks that are watching this in WPA here, no snow yet. Be safe. All right, I got one more infomercial. I got two. Unicycles. All right. Dr. Trina Hess was on our show. This is in July. You got to go to the website here. I don't even know what it says here. Matt, you got to help me. But anyhow, UNA Nationals 213. UNINationals213.com. Help these people out. It's up in Butler. We're doing a lot of North Hills type of stuff, even though we're in the South Hills. So check that out. Now we go to something a little more sad here with there's a Knight in Blue, the policeman's ball. And if you go to the WPPBF.org, you can get the details on this nice night. It'll be on, let me get this again. We got too many infomercials. March 16th. It's a Saturday. So make sure it's South Hills Country Club. There's premium auction items. Dancing and entertainment by Jimbo and the Soup Bones. And it's recognition of the officers and families of the fallen brothers of the police in the area. And tickets can be purchased through Eventbrite, the WPPBF board members, and South Hills Country Club. It's a black tie optional affair, and it's all for a great cause. Help these families out that have suffered such tragedy in the line of duty with their husbands and wives and everything else who've passed. And now what's on my mind, the young kid here stole my thunder. Kunitz shoots and scores. Malkin shoots and scores. Sidney Crosby shoots and scores. And then, open netter, Malkin needed another assist, James Neal. When you have the top three guys and Kunitz on there, he's the third leading scorer, it's all good. Who needs defense? They go behind, they get even, they get a big enough lead, they held on. And Fleury's been playing pretty well. I mean, when you have all these guys rushing in with no help, I mean, that's not a good thing. So he's done well. And the Penguins, Stanley Cup, here we come. I'm drinking their Kool-Aid. Now our next segment, folks, since we've had a couple delays, we revisit what's on our minds. And if anybody has questions about what I've said, Smoking Jim, which you didn't hear in Big Mike, Zach, then that's what we do. But we heard what you said, so.
Loud and clear, and I'll tell you what, you certainly do know Chip the Profiteer Hayner, I'm sure.
you're taking his place. Hey, Chip, we miss you as always,
Get
pal.
better.
Yeah, do get better. And this is the guy that's taking your place, and you heard what he said. I'm going to tell
Wally
you.
Pipp. Remember Wally Pipp? Any of you know any history there? Study Wally Pipp.
Bye, Chip.
Lou Gehrig, one of my heroes, buddy.
Wally Chip.
Wally Chip.
Way before my time.
Holy shit.
Here, I'll give you a little history. Wally Chip, I mean Pip. Lou Gehrig was a young stud that come out of college, and he had all the greatest potential in the world. Well, Wally Pipp missed a game. He was a good ball player himself, and he never got back in the lineup. Ever.
No.
Ever, never. So that's why we're telling Chip, whatever he is, the profiteer,
He'll be in
say,
town in 2
get
minutes.
better. Get better there.
I got a feeling Chip's getting better right now.
Chip got to learn from the brother. The brother move is when you call off. You call off like 2 minutes before the show. That way they can't replace you. Your car break down 2 minutes before the show.
I remember Smoking Jim did something like that, and we talked about it. Me and Chip had a marathon that day. 59 and a half minutes of non-stop talking. And I didn't do all the
I have to
talking.
go back and watch that broadcast.
I'll give you
Go
that.
on YouTube.
You can check it out on YouTube. I'll give you the date, and I didn't post that on our Pittsburgh Sportsline yet. We're getting a lot of likes on there, Big Mike. We're up to 123. They like
Last
our
I checked, it was
fan page.
128. Last I checked, 128.
Wow.
And what
Wow,
did
we jumped up.
and what did we start at?
0.
Awesome.
You know what? Do you want to revisit anything on your mind, Big Mike?
Well, I really didn't lead off with a segment. I was.
You want to make
well,
one up right now?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, not make one up, but I'd like to put this out to the guys since now we can just chime and chip in. Chip.
You leave Chip alone,
What I'd
you
like
said.
to what I'd like to know is that at one time Mao Zedong wore those Nehrus, or was it the Nehru guys in the At any rate, what I want to know is
Yes, he did.
Okay, did Dennis Rodman wear a wedding dress to North Korea?
No.
He went straight.
No.
He's not straight, but he didn't wear a wedding dress to North Korea.
What I'd like to know is seriously, and it does, even if it's not seriously, how in the world did that guy get an invitation? And I'll forget
You
about
gotta.
it.
Here's what you gotta.
I
Oh,
read it.
Globetrotters.
I know that part. I know that part. I know that part. How did Dennis Rodman get an invitation to
Kim
meet,
Jong Un.
so he can get an end of Barack Obama? Come on, I read this article. This is just too
You
much.
missed
This is-
Chip. Watch when we go
Oh.
up on
You gotta
YouTube.
revisit Chip's.
Chip had
What's on
one
his
of the
mind?
greatest opening. What's on your
Well, let's
mind?
revisit it because this is the revisitation portion.
You're exactly right. We're a day late,
But
and we're
nevertheless,
revisiting.
just fill it in for a moment, man, because I'm kind of curious. I mean, I read the articles, but it didn't explain. And I understand the Harlem Globetrotters, but I don't understand how this guy became part and parcel to anything that involved sitting down with one of, whether the guy's a nutcase or not. He's a high.
How many
up in-
rebounds did he have in North Korea?
No, I'm talking about.
That's what we're talking sports here. I was thinking about we went off the tangent last night. I'm trying to bring you back. I'm like the moderator here. I don't
No,
know
you
much
are the
about
moderator.
sports. I don't know much about sports, but I'm trying to get back to the sports. And I wanted to touch on some Pirate pitching. There were 31 pitchers that come into camp.
Wow.
And we got a couple pitchers. Carson's, he got a bad bicep, but he said he can pitch in 7 to 10 days. Well, to me, it doesn't matter if you can pitch in 7 or 10 days. Can you get anybody out? And can you pick anybody off? Can you hold them on the base? Can James McDonald pitch out of the stretch? That's kryptonite to him. If you see him pitching when he's normal without anybody on base, this guy's lights out. As soon as somebody gets on base, he can't find home plate. So that's one of my observations. If you want to disagree, Zach, or add something to that, I know you're a baseball nut tonight.
Baseball not tonight. Nah, just because I was just checking out the Pirates in the Grapefruit League, and I just don't like what I see. There's just no kind of consistency whatsoever with this team at all, and I don't see them getting any better. It's probably going to be another big-time losing season, I predict, for the Pirates.
Well, I usually make a bet, Zach, and it'll probably be with Chip. I bet $1 that they don't break 81 games. So far, I've been doing that for 12 years out of the 20.
That's not
Haven't
good,
lost.
That's
But it makes for a nice TV show.
It makes for a nice TV show.
I think. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, that's all I have on the Pirates right now. We can go back to them on a segment later on if you want. Unless Big Mike, you got a point there.
No, yeah, I do. I think this year, because of the shortened season with the hockey, the National Hockey League, and the fact that they only prepared for 2 weeks, has kind of led me to believe that spring training is for baseball. That is, I'm not going to speak for football, but for baseball, I think spring training is a bust. I mean, it's way too long. Obviously, these guys, whatever they do in spring training, Zach, Machine. That has nothing. What the Pirates are
What about smoking? You forget about him. You're looking at him.
No, I usually see him right like here. Okay, smoking.
Believe me, he can get loud.
You like that little buffer zone.
I forget, as Al would say, I forget about it.
Forget about it. All right, then. We're going to travel to the next segment. I do a little talk about Pittsburgh Sportsline at Sips Sports Bar. We do that Monday night, every Monday night. We had great guests last night. We had a super show. You have to catch it when it gets put up on YouTube, and then you'll see it throughout the week. We run different segments of that. Zach was another star on the show. And we met a nice gentleman that has Pittsburgh Sports Nation, Mac Drakovich. He was on the show, and he's an expert on sports. He was looking to be on the TV show, and Zach and him were arm wrestling to try to get on the show tonight. So I won't say any more. I think Zach's a little bit younger, but we'll decide that later on. We had another regular. India was on the show. Then we had a special guest, Alicia. She's a Steelerette. And then the guy who's in charge of all this, Michael Anthony, didn't want to do an interview, but somehow the talking machine talked him into it, or he would have had to leave. And he was a generous man. He also does another thing with the Patriot Girls, and he left me a calendar that I almost sold on the way out of the bar, and that's a story for another day. But we had a great show. You got to have the food. The burgers were good last night. Yeah. You got the meatball. Hoagies are great. The fries. Just a great atmosphere. Tracy pours a heck of a drink, I've heard. Chief, you want to give us any verification on those drinks? And we had some Post-Gazette guys there last night, some of my guys that I work with. We had E, we had Haz, and we had Gary were out there. So thanks for coming up to the show. And Gary, thanks for being a regular. Gary was watching our show, Smoking Jim, and he saw it when Chip come on. He told me about that. He saw when you were on.
That's my man.
And he's a good guy and loves sports, and we cover a lot of that, so you have to check out that show. And now, folks, if you haven't watched the show, and for all the ones that do, you know this is one of my favorite times for the show. This is Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Hey, thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. I tell you what, my man Mac got some nice Nikes, brother. I love Nikes, man. But we're going back a little bit. You know, the high school championships was this weekend, and I think that they should change the name from the WPIL championships. They should change the trophy to the Terrell Pryor trophy. And I tell you what, man, we're going back.
Is he deceased? They usually name him after dead people. What happened here?
Well, I got to go back. I got to go back in the day. And if Mac,
there's dust.
Yeah, there's dust on there. Mac can get this. Of course, I'm down here. I'm sitting down here below.
I got to see
right
that
on,
first.
Right on Media Lane there.
I'll hold it up.
And before you hold it off, since you want to look, that's the great Armin Gilliam right there, the late great Armin Gilliam. But we can show the fans that one. Terrell Pryor. And that'll come to the story. Terrell Pryor was the number one, his senior year, he was the number one football player in the country. And his best sport probably was, coming up through the ranks, was basketball. He got offered a full scholarship as a sophomore in basketball by the University of Pittsburgh. Terrell Pryor, since they went all the way to the championship in football, Jeanette's basketball team was way, way behind because they played almost up through Christmas time. Well, Beaver Falls had an outstanding team, undefeated team, number one team in the state. During the regular season, Beaver Falls was led by Todd Thomas from Pitt football player, and they beat Jeanette by about 30 points earlier in the season. So in the championship game, Beaver Falls was favored. After the tip-off, Terrell Pryor, after the tip-off, he goes down and he goes up for a layup, and Todd Thomas blocks it all the way to about half court. And that just set Terrell Pryor off. He went off in that game. He had 39 points. He had 26 rebounds. He had 12 block shots. He had 10 dunks, but he saved his best for the end of the game. Of course, I'm the only black person sitting down at media row, right on the floor. Terrell Pryor runs down the court. He sees me. He goes over. He jumps up on the desk. There's a desk right here. He jumps up on the desk, and he actually steps on my notebook, and he loses his balance. So when you see me in the picture, I'm actually holding his ankle so he don't fall. We're on the Beaver Falls side. He looks up in the Beaver Falls stands, and they're up by 30 points. It's about 15 seconds to go in the game, and Terrell Pryor says, blankety blank, Beaver Falls, and jumps back off the table. Beaver Falls fans go crazy. They wanted to start a riot. And Terrell Pryor, of course, not only did they win that game and he was MVP, but they went on and won the state in both basketball and football. And I guarantee you that Terrell Pryor will be the starting quarterback this year for your Oakland Raiders. And that's
Smoking Jim's fiction and fact from his almanac.
all right.
Excellent.
If you notice in this picture, he already has some tattoos. So I don't know if that's the same guy in Ohio State, but it looks like good work. Or it does look like good work. Hi, Coach Tressel.
That's why we brought the young eyes on the show here.
In case y'all wanted to see, look at them calves. Brothers don't have calves, but
Let me see.
look at Pryor's calves in the football.
You're
man.
right.
That's some good calves, some calf implants for a brother right there.
Wow. Is that gel? That's some gel there.
And that, again, is against Beaver Falls in the WPIL championship. So,
Well, thanks for the photos, too, Smoking Jim. That'll look good on YouTube there when we get that up. No doubt. And then one of my other favorite segments, I'm going to have to take it over for Chip's Trivia Time. Now, he always brings up useless trivia. To me, there is no useless trivia. I like it, especially with sports. Well, I'm going to bring up something. All of you know that I always talk about Babe Ruth being one of the best and greatest baseball players. And, you know, I even post up on my Facebook page, oh, by the way, like us on Pittsburgh Sportsline on our Facebook page. And Brenner Contracting, if you're liking us, you got to like him because he was going to jump right in. But anyhow, with Babe Ruth, here's a little trivia for you. I didn't memorize it, but I did read it. On this day, back in 1922, guess what, guys? They signed a 3-year contract with Babe Ruth. Wow. He was making $52,000 a year. That's $1,000 a week for all you math majors from Cal U. That's what that is.
I thought it was general studies.
Well, whatever it is. Come on now. You can't be my straight man there. But he was making $1,000 a week. And guess what a couple of the stipulations in his contract were? He wasn't supposed to go out carousing and drinking and doing all the things there. And I don't know if he kept his word too much on that because he ended up having, that was in his prime, 1922. And look at Murderers Row in 27 and everything else. And look at the records that he did set. I mean, he had a streak of like about 460 home runs and, you know, over about 7 years. And he was just pounding the ball out everywhere.
That was with the Yankees?
Yes. He was a great pitcher with the Red Sox. So you got to read that in your Funkin' Wagnalls, okay? We'll get that book out for you another day. But that's a little assist from. You guys don't read books except Big Mike and me, so that's all right. No problem. But that's a shout out to Chip and his trivia time. I had to throw a little trivia time. Now,
Whoa, wait, may I
interject?
Yeah, because he's getting his hockey scores. You segued right into something I've been carrying with me for weeks, waiting for the proper moment. Well,
this is why, folks, we don't script anything.
No, I don't. That's for sure.
He writes a book before every show, and I try not to let him read it until he can read it.
There was a precedent set long before Dennis the Worm Rodman went to North Korea, dressed as whatever he dressed
A man this time.
as a man to help out with political unrest. In 1934, Babe Ruth Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, a couple other, no, not a couple, bunch of stars, played 18 games in Japan. This is 1934. Wow. And it was with politicians on both sides of the Pacific. We're hoping that the amity generated by the tour.
Can you explain that?
Amity, yes, it's a place on Long Island where they filmed the shark movie. And the Amity, exactly, thank you, exactly. I knew there was a good reason why you're this evening sitting next to me. The two nations shared a love of the game that could help heal the growing political differences. It didn't happen, but that was one of the reasons, the main reason, why in 1934 Babe Ruth, dressed as a Babe Ruth, went to Japan on an 18-game baseball tour. It was in an effort to help build some goodwill and avoid
foreign relations. They were trying to build some nice foreign relations.
Yeah, so Dennis Rodman is not the first.
How did that work out?
What, with Babe Ruth or
with Babe Ruth in Japan?
Well, Babe Ruth was a lot taller, and I heard they ran out of sake within 3 days. There was no sake, and they kept saying he's knocking the ball out of the park. They lost baseballs.
I like this guy, except for not knowing what a Yankee is. But that's we can move on from there.
Well, thanks for bringing that up. That was sort of like Chip's trivia time.
It was almost like we planned that. Which
we
in fact we
scripted that,
did.
folks. Big Mike and I were here early.
Who didn't know what a Yankee was? I knew what a Yankee was. I was just
My eyes were out of control.
The Yankees. He played for
Zach.
for Boston.
He's just like that. You know how I'm very sarcastic? Well,
Read my back.
look what he's wearing.
Nice.
Yeah. Now, here's one of the segments that Zach will fit in very nice here since I met him. Boxing is our segment now, Smoking Jim. This is for you. You can't take any more text on hockey scores or on the basketball scores, all right? And I don't care what your bookmaker says. Whatever you got in on time, that's it. If you got to put a late bet in for the West Coast games, forget about it, okay? Not on this show, all right? Boxing, that's what's on our mind. We had Golden Gloves the other night. We got Golden Gloves coming up again, and we got Team Salka's going to be boxing again. I heard about it last night. And what do you think about this boxing, Smoking Jim?
Well, my man Al Levine, the talking machine, pulled a brother move on me Saturday. We were supposed to do some boxing together, but he gave me a call 5 minutes before the show. So I couldn't replace him, brother.
Thanks for teaching me.
You should have called me. You should have called me. I'd have been there. Quick.
But we had great. The Gold Glove boxing started off this past Saturday night over at the Three Lakes Golf Course over in, well, I don't like Penn Hill, so I'll say Plum.
Isn't that Salzburg Road?
Salzburg Road, and I tell you what, it was a great night. There's a young kid from the north side. He's only 15, 16 years old. He put on a lot of weight this year. His body wants to grow, but he's boxing at 142 pounds. I'm already predicting he's going to win the state championship. His name is Johnny Spells. Johnny Spells. He's trained by his dad. He got all the tools to be a great fighter if he stays focused. He got the reflexes, the quick hands. He fought a kid out of Butler that was about 23 years old, and he pitched a complete shutout. The guy couldn't hit him with a handful of salt, and it was an easy victory, and he fought a real tough kid. I tell you what, this tournament in the Golden Gloves is going along real great. In 2 weeks, we're going to be here on Route 88 at the Royal Place, and it's going to be great. We'll have Al Levine, the talking machine, there working his magic. And also, you guys miss Bella Lisa Smith was my co-host.
Oh,
and they don't come no more beautiful than Bella Lisa. So we had a great time. And we had a great time after the fights, too. Got a little bite to eat. And I tell you what, we're here, and we're going to let Zach talk more about Lightning Rod Salka and what's coming up for him pretty soon. I know he got a pro card coming up on April 13th. We can't wait. It'll be a BPTV special.
We'll be there, just so you know, Zach, that we're going to film it and broadcast it just like we did the Salka Championship.
Well, you
bout.
gentlemen know I'll be there.
Well, if you're not there, it's all going to stop because you're in charge of security. You're in charge of training these fighters.
But this time we're going to have a special camera just on Zach for all the times he's slamming folks and throwing people out. That's going to be good, man. That's going to be our reality series.
You got to pay. You got to pay or Zach will
We're
the wall.
going to have a 24/7 so you guys can see behind the scenes what goes into this. It's just not the fighter fighting. There's a lot of things that go on.
You got to see what's under the hat, folks. That's the key. You can't win with what's under the hat, okay? Just remember that.
It's a family recipe.
All right, now what's about this Lightning Rod Sulka?
Well, Lightning Rod Promotions. We're gonna have Jason Bergman fighting up next on April 13th, and Stevie Upshur Chambers, Eddie Chambers' little brother. If anybody's familiar with the heavyweight ranks, he tried his hardest to get a shot at those Klitschko brothers, but apparently Eddie Chambers' new strategy is he's going to drop down in weight to light heavyweight and take a stab at that.
Wow.
So
there's some insights, folks, some inside boxing.
That's his new chain of events.
Wow.
But that's basically what we got announced right now. I know that Lattimore is getting ready to make his second fight. If you guys know anything about him, he's out of at World Class Boxing. He's a real nice kid.
Where's he going to be fighting at?
He's going to be fighting down in Mountaineer.
Really?
Yeah, that's their next thing coming up, World Class. I believe it's April 6th down in Mountaineer. That card hasn't fully been
I don't know if we travel that far, Smoking Jim. BPTV.
Well, you could always,
cable doesn't go that far.
I'm going to be there, so I could always be a correspondent for the show and take
when my main man, one of my great friends, was the CEO at Mountaineer, Ted Arnaud. I used to go there to all his fights. He used to put on 4 fights a year, and used to give me the penthouse room, so I would stay all weekend.
You don't gamble there, though.
Yeah, no, I didn't gamble. They didn't.
Because you want me to teach you to play the slots.
They didn't have card tables there, but I tell you what, their cooks made some mean fried chicken, so they made their money on me all weekend. But we used to have a great fun, and Ted Arnaud's a great guy. So I haven't been back down the Mountaineer since he stepped away from.
And one more thing to point out too, Smoking Jim, we would love to see Marnie and Rod, get this fight, get this fight, get this fight for the city, let's get it together and let's make this happen, and I think that would be a great event, give the people what they want,
There you go.
That's another thing we're working on, trying to put together.
Well, good luck with that. I hope you get it together. You got to let us know, so we'll announce it. We'll broadcast that everywhere.
Well, I tell you what, I've watched Marnie Mazer Clay ever since he's had his first professional boxing card. People don't know.
That's when he was Two Guns.
Well, I didn't know his nickname, but I know that I was at his boxing debut, and he came out with not a win, not a loss, and not a draw. The boxing debut was at the Homewood Brushton Greater Coliseum roller skating rink, and it was packed. It was a sellout crowd, about 2,000 people there. I don't know who the promoters was, but we came in to see Marnie Mazer Clay fight his first professional fight. He was in great shape. Unfortunately, I don't think I got in free, but I think the paying public. I don't think the paying public got their money back. But none of the fighters refused. All the fighters refused to fight because they didn't trust that the promoter had the money to pay them. So we sat there for about 2 hours waiting on the bell to ring. And unfortunately, Marnie Mazer Clay didn't get a chance. We didn't get a chance to see him that day. But I've been following his career afterwards. And I tell you what I witnessed in Rod Sulka's last fight, I think that he could beat any lightweight on the planet that particular night. I've never seen a 135-pounder better than he was on that particular night. And if I was Marnie Mazer Clay, I may stay away from Lightning Rod.
Whoa.
Ooh. Well, I know somebody that everybody wants to stay away from 135 pounds, and that's Adrian the Problem Bronner.
Whoa.
Nobody wants a piece of the problem. Nobody.
Wow.
Nobody.
You can get it. You can get it.
There you go, folks. That's part of
Did
our
he move
segment.
up, or he's still 135?
He's still 135, but he's contemplating bumping up.
Wow. What's wrong with those guys from Cincinnati? Aaron Pryor was a nut. Broner was a nut. And Cat Williams is a nut. They all from Cincinnati. So they crazy.
Maybe
Shout
it's
out
something
to
in the water.
Kelly the Ghost Pavlik. He's from Youngstown.
That's my man.
He may be a nut or whatever, but he's cool and he's a good guy.
Kelly love knocking out brothers.
And if you want to hear a great call on that championship fight, you got to watch BPTV when there's Ironman boxing. You'll hear Smokin' Jim make the call. It's a new classic, and you can see it on YouTube. Go to Pittsburgh Sportsline, our fan page, and you can see we have it up there, and we broadcast it everywhere, and you'll see Lightning Rod knock the guy out when he had the opening. It was just beautiful.
That Marnie fought that same exact guy 2 times, and they were slugfest, and it was a close fight. He could have won either way.
Yes, sir.
Maybe a hometown decision, maybe not a hometown decision. I'll leave it up to you guys.
I'm not going to decide. Whatever they did, it's in the past. We got to move forward on that. Speaking of moving forward, we touched lightly on the Penguins here. You know, and I brought it up, and Zach brought it up a little bit, and I do want to touch on them. You know, that they're talking about making some trades. I think they should just stay pat, get these guys to produce a little more on defense. You got the offensive firepower. And if you have the goaltenders that are playing, you know, at the top of their game, I forget the other goaltender there. Maybe Zach knows what his name is.
What number 29?
No, we know 29. Come on.
That's the only goalie I know on the
Oh,
roster.
man.
Who else is worth knowing? It's just like Ben Roethlisberger. Although Charlie is my boy, we both come from the same place. Still
Well,
Valley.
he's had a great career. You got to give Charlie a shout out
Oh,
there.
yeah. Number 16.
We appreciate that. And then we usually talk a little bit about Pirates, and we've touched on that. Chip always likes to go into the Pirates in depth, and I think we covered it a little bit, unless Big Mike wants to add something, or
Well, I want to switch.
your switch hitter.
I couldn't do that.
Okay, go ahead.
This morning, I told you guys I was where I was this morning, and
I forget.
I was in Homewood with the guy on the guy on the thing,
Zamboni?
the quad, the force that was going up and down the road. And as I was driving past the Homewood Roller Coliseum, I was
Well, this is the first time I've ever heard the Homewood Coliseum.
roller
Twice.
roller
Oh,
col-
twice.
roller Coliseum.
Twice.
It's never been done, folks.
Google it.
This is like a classic moment that you'll remember the rest of your life. That nobody's even mentioned the Homewood Roller Rink, whatever Coliseum
hope
once.
it's still there.
Now it's been 3 times. Go ahead, Big Mike, but you're the best.
Well, it came on the radio.
What happened?
They have good fried
Joe
chicken.
Flacco.
Tell me they got good fried chicken.
The best.
No chicken.
The best.
I stopped in the Sims, but that was that was short-lived. Joe Flacco had received a big contract for the Baltimore Ravens, and
That's
they were
surprising.
listed. Well, you caught lightning in a bottle. You win one
No,
Super
I called
Bowl.
that before. I just want to bet with somebody on that. Did he
Well-
make $20 million a year? I don't want to steal your.
Well, I'm not going with numbers, but it did list the other elite quarterbacks in the NFL: Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning,
Brady.
Tom Brady, et cetera, and I think this contract has gone above and beyond the rest of the contracts, depending on how you structure the money. Now, what I understand is he's making $29 million signing bonus, and
Yes.
then the rest was 52 mil, not the rest, but almost 80% was guaranteed. So what I'm leading up to is in smoking, since I ignored you totally earlier, I'm going to direct this to you and to you only, not to these guys. I want you to explain to the rookies out there, the kids out there, et cetera, how a franchise player in the NFL is designated and what that actually means. Now, I know that this is not Flacco, but how can that guy be making the most money on his team and in the league, or just on his team, not be the franchise player? So if you'd mind explaining to those guys out there, I'd appreciate it.
Well, I'm sure Joe Flacco is going to give some of that money back to the University of Pittsburgh. But, yeah, you know what? The things change every year with franchising. What you got to realize in the National Football League is that the salary cap usually goes up around 8 to 10% over what it was the previous years. Unfortunately, most teams, if you make a bad decision on your quarterback, Matt Castle, and some of these other guys, Sanchez, the quarterbacks usually represent 20% of the total salary cap for your entire team. So if you got a bum as a quarterback, which half the league does, that you only got 80% to pay the other 52 players. What the franchise does in the National Football League, and they kind of copied off of basketball, where you can actually keep your best player. But what you have to do is you have to invest. One year, about 3 years ago, the Pittsburgh Steelers franchised Lamar Woodley, a great outside linebacker who's rarely in shape. Lamar Woodley was only making, as a second-round draft pick, about $500,000 a year. So when they franchised him, two things happened as a franchise player. One, you were guaranteed that money whether they cut you or not. And then you have to be paid one of the top 5 spots at your position in the league. So Lamar Woodley was going to make guaranteed $10 million. And they did the same thing with Big Bird or Barney, the left tackle that they keep cutting. They franchised him before. So that's the thing. You take a little risk because now it's a guaranteed money whether he gets cut or not. And 2, you have to pay him as one of the top 5 players at his position. So that's why a lot of teams really don't like to. They rather do a long-term deal.
But to speak on, since we're talking about Joe Flacco, I got a little funny one for you about Joe Flacco. A guy that I graduated from high school with that's still valued by the name of Luke Getsy. It was Luke Getsy,
quarterback.
Tyler Palco from West Allegheny, and Joe Flacco all on the same roster for Pitt. And what ended up happening is Joe Flacco ended up going to Delaware State. Luke Getsy, Charlie Batch ended up buying Luke Getsy out at Pitt at his scholarship.
Really?
So that he could go to the University of Akron. And now Luke is, I believe, assistant coach at IUP. IUP, I believe.
Yeah, and he's the quarterback coach, and Rod Rutherford's at IUP as a receiver coach or something like that. So they're both at IUP right now. And Luke Getsy was also a great basketball player. I've seen him your senior year play basketball against West Mifflin twice.
That was with wars.
Yeah, that was some great games too.
You want to talk about a war? Still Valley and West Mifflin.
Wow, but I tell you what, who was the best quarterback in that class that year coming out of WPIL? Tyler Pelko was a parade All-American. Luke Getsy should have been an All-American. Who was the best quarterback in that class that year?
Gradkowski from St. LaSalle, was he in that class?
Ooh, I'm not sure. He might have been, but the best quarterback in that class was Stevie Breston from Woodland Hills. And Stevie Breston didn't get recruited by Pitt because they recruited Tyler Pelko and Getsy, and they didn't know that Breston was willing to play wide receiver. So Michigan ended up stealing him because he wanted to go to Pitt, but Pitt didn't recruit him. He could have been the receiver.
North Braddock.
Yeah.
Steve Breston. I heard he was down in the South Side trying out for the Steelers this past week, working out. So he might be back.
And his dad worked for years and years at the Braddock Hospital. Wonder where he's working at now.
Steeler training camp.
That hospital is rubble now.
Yeah, it's gone.
There is a retirement community. Half of it is now a retirement community. I don't know if you guys ever are familiar with that mayor. That big guy with the goatee that's in like the Levi's commercials and stuff like that. He's done a really good job in Braddock. So
really?
Braddock's really on the upswing.
He's a smart
guy.
Braddock
is really on the upswing. You know, I might be a Still Valley guy, but Braddock is on the upswing. They have retirement communities built on one part of that land, and now they just broke ground. They're getting ready to build something else over there in Braddock for like training or something.
Well, he's
been
fighting very hard to try to get some state money, which is almost nothing anymore, and he's been getting businesses involved, and yeah, he's doing a lot of good there.
As a Levi's commercial, that's all I have to say.
Like I said, Praveen, nobody knows more about black people than you.
Thanks. Well, I was born in a Hill District a few years back. 105 Pride Street. It's right underneath the hospital, Mercy Hospital.
You sound like Val. You sound like it.
It's the truth.
Do you like fried chicken, Al?
Yeah. I like wings. I like wings, except last night I heard the wings are so great at Six Sports Bar that India ate a couple extra. She was counting them, and they said, "Oh, we made a mistake."
Is she sweet?
She did. That's another. You have to watch the video when that comes out, folks. Another one of the entourage that Smokin' Jim has. So when he mentions women there, you have to see the Patriot Girl calendar with Michael Anthony there. So
he has a sweet gig, huh?
Yes, he does.
All over the country. He's in 25 states, he said.
Man.
That's terrible. Big Mike, you got to meet this guy.
What's he do?
We can't tell you on air.
And he keeps changing his name, so
Yeah.
he's going
Michael
from state
Anthony.
to state,
Yeah,
bro.
next week it's not going to be Michael Anthony.
It's related to sports. He has the Steelerettes.
Still,
He
that
has
guy.
cheerleaders for the Steelers, like 4 or 5 of them. They'll go to the games. And Alicia was a great interview.
Beautiful girl.
And a very pretty girl. Smoking Jim gave one of the best introductions ever. Promoted the heck out of her. So I don't know what kind of contract he signed there.
He always does that for all those pretty girls.
How'd you notice, Zach? There's a pattern here. And folks, if you like this sports talk, don't be afraid to call 412-831-3304. That phone is quiet. We're going to have to start tweeting and stuff. Maybe we'll learn that tweet thing and start doing the tweet here, but that'll be coming attractions, I hope. But we still have some more sports to talk about. I wonder what you guys think about Pitt basketball. You know, if you guys have any thoughts on Pitt basketball. I know Smoking Jim, you're a Ben Howland guy, so
Well,
I don't know how he's still lingering there.
Well, when Pitt won the other day going overtime, I started doing the Harlem Shake.
Whoa.
Shakes or shake?
But like I said before, I believe, in my opinion, that Pitt is one of the 3 national champions last year. NIT was won by Stanford. NCAA was won by Kentucky. CBI was won by Pitt. I would like to see Pitt defend their title.
I'm already made the prediction. They're not going to defend the title,
They're
folks.
definitely not
NCAA.
defending the CBI. No matter what happens, we don't have to buy to get into a tournament this year. You heard it right here. We're not paying to get into a tournament. No matter what he says, we're not paying to get into a
Thanks for
tournament.
joining my team. You're on Team Levine now because I've been telling him that. He's stubborn, though. He keeps saying that. And then we want to shout out, I did last night, Robert Morris University, their hockey team, their basketball team. You know, they're going to be in the tournament. The hockey team's doing great. Yes, they're having a great year. And Marty Galosi, we'll have to get a hold of you someday and get you maybe up at Sips and tell us the inside. You have that Frozen 4 coming up, so we should give a little call to Marty. He's been on our show a couple times, Zach. Really good guy there.
You guys need to have me at that Frozen 4.
Oh, yeah? What do you do there? You know hockey, too.
Oh, man, what don't we know?
I'm still trying to find out, folks. That's why, so far, hey, if you need any remodeling, never mind. We're not going to talk Brenner contract. We'll do that. Wait, one more. Hold it. What is this? Here, you got to hold it and get the photo off. Jeez.
Yeah, 'cause what's her name stole it last night.
India. I got a new
stole it
one.
last night. There we go.
You got a
Brenner
great close-up.
Contracting.
Brenner Contracting. If he can't answer your question, nobody can. Okay? And other than that, we still have some more sports with high school. I want to give another shout-out to Bethel Park girls. Congratulations again. Here's a little tip. If you want to be on our show, we have the show at Sips Sports Bar. You can come there and we'll do an interview with the coach and maybe a couple players. Parents are more than welcome. You can chaperone them there. It's a great place. There's so many TV screens. Zach was amazed. He was just looking around watching hockey on 4 screens right near us, and he still caught the game and was able to talk to us. So nice job there, Zach.
We got to get more people out to Sip Sports Bar. It's a great place in Dormont, downtown Dormont, right there on West Liberty Avenue.
3024 is the official address on Facebook.
3024.
And for all you to go down to 3200, that's Cochran. That's number 1 Cochran Nissan. Okay, that is not Sips.
Rob Cochran, we want to check, and I'm coming to see you tomorrow for our plug.
We're looking. We'll see Rob Cochran when he's doing one of those ads. He could be on our show. I know he knows sports. I think he's from Monroeville, too.
Yes, he is.
So I think he went to Gateway.
I'm not sure about that, but
Or a private
Was he
school,
recruited?
maybe.
I'm not sure.
No.
Was he recruited to Gateway? He was one of the top young business minds in what year, like 88?
Well, you better study up. You'll be coming back. You're one of those smartest guys. Now we start to wind down with some closing remarks. And Big Mike, you got any closing remarks or anything you want to promote, or that script that you have written for like 2 months? You're allowed to bring something out there.
No, I have something fresh, and I'm not going to let Zach see this, but I want to bring up something interesting. There's in the history of baseball. Well, before I go to that.
Oh, wait a second. That's at one point.
No. Who's the guy at the end of the year in the Post-Gazette that lists all the famous cliches from the past year?
I don't know, but let's go to what you're doing.
Matt Cain of San Francisco Giants, on an interview either yesterday or today, he said in the year 2013 the Giants are going to take it one moment at a time.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. One, not a day, not a game.
All right, what are
one
you
moment
going
at a
to?
time.
Because the closing remarks, we're running out of
There's
time.
two.
Man.
Come on, we got 3.5 minutes.
Yeah,
I
but that's
could
for
fill
all
it.
of us, not just you.
There are, in baseball history of all the Major League Ball teams, there's been 2 number 7s that have been retired. The obvious is Zach. You already know that.
Yeah.
Who is it?
The Mick.
Exactly. Now, who's the other guy who wore number 7 for the same team for his entire career and has his number retired? And I never would have got this had I not read it. The guy's name is
Give us a hint. Initials?
I can't remember it either. Craig Biggio of the Houston Astros.
Really?
Who just missed the Hall of Fame
No
this year.
way.
Number
Wow.
7. The only other number 7 in all of Major League Baseball history. Zach, to you.
Closing remarks. Well, I'm just happy to be here. I got to thank Alan Levine, the Talking Machine, Smoking Jim Frazier. I'm happy to be here. Hi, Chip. Hopefully I keep the seat
What
warm
about
for
Big
you.
Mike? What about your new buddy, Big Mike?
Oh, Big Mike. We can't forget about Big Mike. He thought I didn't know what a Yankee was. I mean, I just came from saying Abraham Lincoln, and that's what I thought he meant, talking about the Yankees. I didn't
He
know
was reading a Civil War book, folks.
On the
That's
way
what
over.
happened.
That's
In
why I
his
was
car,
late. In
in
my
traffic, and
On
the North
Curry
and
Hall.
South were having a little discussion there.
Correct.
And it was Yankees go home, Big Mike.
But hopefully going into the Big East tournament, hopefully like Pitt could just, somehow, some way, just prolong the tournament, please, in the Big East. Like, please don't go into Madison Square Garden for the last tournament in the Big East and just be one and done. Can we get a couple games in there, please? That's all from me.
Thanks,
And
Zach.
I guarantee you we're not going to the CBI. No matter what this man next to me says, we're not going to the CBI. Guaranteed.
You're welcome back just for that, because we all try to agree with each other. And Smoking Jim, I think sometimes he's just trying to stir us up. But he doesn't lie. That's the best part about
Neither
it.
do I.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Okay, Smoking, any last remarks?
Yeah, I'll be real brief. Everybody get out. You got to travel a lot. Be safe in the snow, but you want to go and see the upset of the year when Newcastle plays the Gateway Gators, and I will guarantee you that Gateway is going to hassle the Castle this weekend.
Where's it at?
Upset.
Tell us where it's at. Come
well,
on. We can't travel if we don't know.
Well, the site is still to be unknown. I think Newcastle want to play at home, but I think it's going to be in the Johnstown area. That's what
Johnstown.
the little birdie told me, but I don't know
Probably
officially.
the warmer one.
Check your publications, but you want to get there because nobody shakes the dice twice. Nobody beat Gateway twice. Short teams can't beat Gateway. Gateway's going to rough up Newcastle. I guarantee you this weekend they can't wait. Revenge is on the Gators' mind.
Wow, that's pretty good. But with the snow bubble going past Pittsburgh, it'll hit the higher levels in Somerset and near Johnstown. So I don't know if the folks want to travel out there. There may just be you, Smoking Jim, in the stands going, yay, Gateway. But
For
that's okay.
opening round state game.
And that's good. And then we're going to wrap this up, guys. First of all, I want to thank everybody and our new fans and continuing our old fans watching the show. We're getting a lot of great feedback all over the area. We're even in Brookline, Beachview, downtown Pittsburgh. If you have Verizon, you can watch us live. Our shows broadcast 3-4 times a week. We got 2 or 3 of them going at a time, plus boxing. Look for Smoking with Jim. It's a great interview with Rayco War Saunders. Check that out. I want to thank Matt. I want to thank Joe in the control room and Devin Shea. You kept a tight ship here. Thanks for the commercial. Dave Cable, thanks for all your editing and the fine graphics you put on at Sips Sports Bar. Make sure you see us Monday at 7:30. And that's it, folks. Have a great day. Be safe.